Imagine, if you will, a woman who, every year, finds herself standing in front of a tombstone, her husband's. She's a beacon of strength, her resolve as sturdy as the granite stone she stands before. Her hands, aged by time and work, gently trace the carved letters of her husband's name, an annual ritual, a pilgrimage of sorts, to a place neither of them had envisioned in their shared dreams of forever. This cemetery, a silent symphony of memories and goodbyes, has become her sanctuary, a place where she can still feel the echo of her husband's laughter, see the shadow of his smile. It's here that she comes to remember, to mourn, and to find solace amidst the stone sentinels and whispering willows. She wears her wedding ring, a golden circle of love and loyalty, unbroken even by death. Her heart, though heavy with loss, is filled with the warmth of treasured memories. Each visit she brings with her a single red rose, a silent testament of her undying love. As she places the rose gently on the grave, her fingers graze the cold stone, a tactile connection to the man who was once her world. In the quiet solitude of the graveyard, she finds a strange comfort. The tombstone, a tangible symbol of her husband's existence, is her anchor to the past, a beacon guiding her through the fog of grief. She finds solace in her ritual, in the familiarity of her actions, and in the unchanging presence of her husband's resting place. Her story is one of love, of loss, and of a bond that transcends the mortal coil. Her unwavering devotion, her dedication to this annual ritual, paints a poignant picture of enduring love, a love that refuses to fade even as the years roll on, even as the seasons change. But this year, something is different, something that sends a chill down her spine. As her fingers trace the familiar letters of her husband's name, they stumble upon an unexpected addition. Her own name, carved with the same precision, the same care, into the granite stone. As she wipes away the dust on the tombstone, her heart skips a beat. There, etched into the cold stone, she sees her own name. A shiver runs down her spine. The air around her seems to chill, and the bird song in the distance fades into a muffled echo. Her fingertips trace the carved letters of her name, the engraving feeling all too real under her touch. The letters are just like the ones spelling out her husband's name, the same style, the same depth. It's as if they were both meant to be there, together, forever. But she's alive. She's standing here, breathing, her heart pounding in her chest. She steps back, her eyes never leaving the tombstone. The world spins around her. Her mind races, trying to make sense of this eerie discovery. She thinks back to her previous visits. Had her name always been there, and she'd simply never noticed? Or had it appeared only recently? She recalls the last few years, the countless hours spent at the graveside, the whispered conversations with her departed husband, the silent tears shed in the quiet solitude of the cemetery. Never once had she seen her name on that stone. She fights back the fear creeping up her spine. Her mind teases her with images of ghost stories she heard as a child, tales of foreboding and omens, of death predicting its next victim. But she shakes her head, dismissing such thoughts. This is reality, not a tale spun around a campfire. She tells herself it must be a mistake. A stonemason's error, perhaps? Or could it be a prank? A cruel joke played by someone with a twisted sense of humor. But who would do such a thing, and why? The cemetery, her sanctuary of grief and memory, has been violated, her private pain made public. She tells herself it must be a mistake, a cruel joke perhaps. But by whom and why? As the sun starts to set, casting long shadows over the graves, she's left standing there, alone and confused. Her world turned upside down by this unexpected discovery. Determined to unravel this mystery, she dives into a search for answers, unaware of the rabbit hole she's about to fall into. Like a seasoned detective, she starts with the most logical point of contact, the graveyard keeper. With a heart pounding like a jackhammer, she approaches him, her voice trembling as she inquires about the tombstone. The keeper, an old man with a weathered face, squints his eyes, revealing a map of wrinkles etched deep with time. He seems perplexed, denying any knowledge of such an act. Unsatisfied with his response, she decides to dig further. She spends her days poring over old records, dusting off hefty books in the town's library, and scrolling through countless digital archives. She encounters many dead ends, but her resolve doesn't falter. She interviews the local stonemason, probing him for any possible leads. He too expresses surprise, claiming he's had no hand in this eerie inscription. With each interaction, her frustration grows, yet she pushes on, driven by a need to understand. She even consults a psychic, hoping to gain some insight from the other side. The psychic, a woman draped in colorful scarves and adorned with jingling bangles, tells her cryptic phrases that only serve to deepen the mystery. "The past is not always behind us," she says, her eyes gleaming with a knowing look. Despite the dead ends and the growing sense of unease, she persists. She contacts the local authorities, hoping they might shed some light on this disconcerting situation. But they too are baffled, offering little more than sympathetic shrugs and empty reassurances. As days turn into weeks, her life becomes a whirlwind of unanswered questions and unsettling possibilities. She begins to feel like she's trapped in a never-ending maze, each turn leading her deeper into the labyrinth. But the closer she gets to the truth, the more unsettling the mystery becomes. And yet, she knows she cannot stop now. For in the pursuit of truth, there is a strange kind of freedom, even if that truth might shatter her world. As she peels back the layers of this enigma, she stumbles upon a startling secret, one that has been buried for years. Her heart pounds like a drum in her chest, each beat echoing the rhythm of her mounting fear and curiosity. She finds herself standing at the crossroads of her past and present, the secret she's about to reveal threatening to shatter the reality she's known for years. She discovers that her husband, the man she'd shared her life with, had been leading a double life. He had a second identity, a second family, a second wife, and she, the woman in the cemetery, the woman whose name was etched on the tombstone next to his, was the other woman. This truth, this devastating revelation, was the secret he had taken to his grave. She had been living in the shadow of a lie, her world built on the foundation of a fabricated truth. She had loved a ghost, a man who had been a mere illusion. The man she thought she knew, the man she had loved, had been a phantom, a mirage. She had been blind to his deception, blind to the signs. But now the veil has been lifted, the secret revealed. The truth, however, is a double-edged sword. It liberates her, yet it binds her in chains of regret and betrayal. Her heart aches with sorrow, her soul burdened with the weight of this newfound knowledge. The image of her husband, the memories they had shared, everything is tainted now, stained by his deceit. Her world comes crashing down around her. She's left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life, to reconcile with this reality. She's left to mourn not only for the man she had lost, but also for the woman she had once been. The woman who had been blissfully unaware of the lie that had defined her life. The truth, as it turns out, is stranger and more chilling than she could have ever imagined. With the truth now staring her in the face, she is left with more questions than answers. The woman, with her heart pounding in her chest, can't shake off the chilling realization that her name is etched on the very tombstone of her late husband. It's as if she is standing on the precipice of a mystery, teetering between the comfort of the known and the dread of the unknown. The cemetery, once a place of serene solitude, has now become a labyrinth of enigmas. Each tombstone, each blade of grass under her trembling feet seems to whisper secrets she has yet to unravel. It's as though her life, as she knows it, is a puzzle, and this tombstone is a missing piece that she never knew existed. Her mind races back to their shared past, to the love letters, the whispered words in the dead of the night, the promises of forever. Yet here she stands, her name etched in stone next to his. It's a chilling paradox, a cruel joke played by fate. The woman's story, once a tale of love and loss, has now morphed into an enigma, a riddle wrapped in a mystery. Each moment, each memory, now seems to be a clue, a breadcrumb leading her towards an unsettling truth. The air around her is thick with suspense and uncertainty. She can't shake off the feeling that she's being watched, that she's a player in a game with rules she doesn't understand. The woman, once a mere visitor to this cemetery, now feels a strange sense of belonging, as if she's been unwittingly drawn into a story that's larger than her own life. The mystery of her name on her husband's tombstone has opened a Pandora's box of questions. Questions that she fears might lead her down a rabbit hole, a journey into the unknown, a search for a truth she might not be ready to face. As she stands there staring at her own name on her husband's tombstone, she can't help but wonder, what does this mean for her and what lies ahead? Y'all, we're wrapping up here, but don't you go anywhere just yet. Show some love, hit that like button. Fancy more content like this? Go on, subscribe and let that bell icon ring so you won't miss a beat. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next time, stay tuned.